Welcome. I'm Kevin Miller. This is a podcast for your personal evolution. In this episode, considering that we are the Matrix and it's all a mind game, everything we do to generate a feeling. So a few nights ago, I watched The Matrix with four of my younger kids. One of them said they hadn't seen it or didn't really remember it. And a group of my older kids had just gotten together and watched it as well. So I'm talking about the 1999 movie starring Keanu Reeves. And it depicts a concept where most humans are, in essence, inert and simply plugged into a computer program, living pretend lives in this virtual construct. And there's then a small clan of people, rebels in essence, who have escaped and are actually living in the tangible real world. Well, in the 26 years since The Matrix came out, there's been so many commentaries on The Matrix being real and that we're all living just this programmed and rather simulated life. Not a true, free, authentic existence. What strikes me is that, real or not, all the things that we do in life primarily, work with me on this as we talk through it, everything we do is simply to get us to feel a certain way. And I ask you to ponder this with me a moment and consider the things that we're pursuing and why. As I share this information, there's lots of questions that will probably come up, lots of ponderings. I am so eager to engage with you on those. And if you want some guidance, figuring out what it is you really want in your life, what is worthwhile, connect with me. We'll find the guide that is the right guide for you. Email me, kmiller@kevinmiller.co. All right, coming up next, I'm going to use the Matrix concept as a model. I'm really going to walk you through the aspects of my book, What Drives You, look at these key areas of our lives and the mind game, in essence, not to minimize anything, that we're all playing. Let's evolve ourselves today. All right. The crux of what I'm considering today, asking you to ponder with me, is the efforts we go in doing in order to primarily just feel a certain way, being, in essence, to feel a certain way. I mean, we think culturally that we do or achieve something because it holds the power to make us feel something. I need X so that I can feel X. I'm doing this so that we think I'm doing this so I can achieve, I can have this X. But even that, whatever we have is ultimately just to get us to feel. That's a bit exaggerated, it may seem, but I'm going to ask you to embrace it just for a little bit. Think of the things that people do and devote themselves to that may mean nothing to you. They climb Mount Everest. They become a powerful political figure. They get six-pack abs and look great in Speedos or a bikini. They become a lawyer, doctor, teacher, pastor. They get a second home. They get a bigger home. They own a business, start a business. They make tenure. They get married. They have kids, whatever it is. Just think about all these things. They get a fancier car. And think about some of those that literally don't mean anything to you. I mean, if somebody gave me $1 million, whatever car cost $1 million, hundreds of thousands of dollars, some fancy car, I just don't have a need for it. And yet that's somebody else's life goal to achieve that thing. And that's fine. But the concept that it means nothing to me and some of those things may not mean anything to you or have any value. Somebody's life goal doesn't mean anything to you. So is it the thing that is the point, the achievement, or is it simply the feeling that it gives us? How many people my parents lived in a fancy area in Florida, a lot of fancy cars that rarely ever made it out of the garage. And even more so, a lot of times people kept them in storage. You're thinking, what's the point? I remember in the movie A Good Year, he points to the head financial guy, the boss, to the painting and says, so is that the real painting? He says, no, that's a duplicate. The real one's in a vault down in a basement. And the guy's asking, well, what's the point? What's the point? You have the fake one up there. What is the point? So, again, I don't want to minimize things, but just questioning if the thing or achievement, what is it at the end of it that we are desiring? If I go to all the work to achieve something so that after it's achieved, I feel a certain way, then is it, again, the thing that makes me feel, or is it just me? And if it's just me, then should I seek the experience out, or can I feel anyways? Can I help myself feel this way? Now, I'm not going to get into some spirituality or hoodoo guru stuff of just sitting still and feeling something. That's not the point. It's just questioning what we're going after and finding more health in going after it or not. Because I don't have an answer here. I'm not culminating with a definition, with a conclusion. Matter of fact, I am somewhat sick of conclusions. We are in a concluding world. My industry, self-help, personal development, human potential, call it what you want. Everybody is offering their conclusion, trying to get you to buy it on many aspects of life that I don't believe we can conclude on finally. We may conclude today. Today, I'm going to make some decisions and conclude on what I keep as I unload my trailer from a big move and what I get rid of and sell or give away or take to the dump. I'm going to conclude the best I can, and I'll probably regret something. I shouldn't have gotten rid of that. Or 6 months down the road, I can't believe I kept that. We're going to conclude on, I will today, on what I eat. I decided today I'm going to go for a run, and I apparently concluded on about 5.5 miles. Tomorrow, will I run? Will I continue being a runner? I don't know, probably. But these conclusions, these one answers, and everybody's trying to sell on things that are rarely able to be cookie cuttered and offered to everybody. We all take maybe some of the concepts and ingredients and figure out what works for us. I mean, at the end, even if I feel an activity or achievement is worthwhile, I help myself asking these questions that we're going to go through and how I go about it, how much I invest of myself, my mindset, my attitude toward it. If I'm clear on what the end result is that I actually want, which again is mostly a feeling. So using this practice, I've helped myself not do a bunch of things. In truth, I've looked at these goals, the year-end goals, and I've looked at them and go, from that, what am I trying? What am I really wanting? And then realizing I don't think that'll provide the feeling, or I don't think I need to do that in order to have the feeling now that I think about it. But that's the thing. Most of us don't think about it. I haven't. I spent 50 plus years just going after stuff, just doing it to do it. Some of it was fun. I'm not discounting. Some of it I'm grateful for. And a lot of it I regret. And the things that I do look at and realize, okay, it's to feel this way, and I think I'm going to do it. I think it's worthwhile. It helps me enjoy the process more, not feel so pressured. So walk with me a minute. I'm going to go through these 7 key areas of life. They're the same ones that I go through in my book, What Drives You, and just ask you to ponder, just to help us all be aware. Kind of an audit, okay? This is an audit on an achievement audit, let's call it. Okay, first one, spirituality. You could call that purpose if you want. You could call it your faith. What are the things that we tend to do, right? We do devotions. We learn, quote, are we really learning? We journal, right? We go to church. We meditate. Maybe we take a trip to somewhere, go to a conference. A lot of things that we might do that you might write down are your do's under spirituality. Well, why do you do them? I'll tell you, I grew up in a religious construct and realized a lot of what I did was just to kind of check the to-do list off. Call it earning points in heaven. Maybe it was just to make myself feel disciplined. Not all bad. But now I look at my spirituality and go, okay, what is it that I want? If the achievement's not necessarily the point, but what I feel as a result, what do I want to feel? Often safe, right? Security. For a lot of people, I'm trying to earn my salvation. I want confidence. I want confidence in my beliefs. I think a lot of religious constructs, we spend time just confirming and bolstering the beliefs we currently have instead of, I think, questioning them and being willing and confident enough in them to actually question and consider them. Or maybe we want connection, right? Connection with God, with that higher power. Okay, but knowing what the feeling is, what do we really want to do? And I always like to ask this question. What would you do if nobody knew about it other than you? You were alone in essence, or you were going to be unknown, anonymous. So could you feel spiritually healthy and at peace without doing any of those things and just sit there and decide you're okay? Maybe not. And I have my own spiritual practices. Some mornings I read something from a spiritual nature. Sometimes it's from a Christian orientation. Sometimes it is not. Sometimes I journal. Sometimes I just look out the window. Sometimes I go for a walk. Sometimes I may want to talk with somebody. To me, that aligns with my belief in a God, and a God that does not have one cookie cutter approach. And that some days he's going to say, they going to say, turn right, turn left. And it's up to me to actually be present. So that's my effort there. And I do want to connect. Do I need to do anything to connect? Sometimes I feel like I need to do something. Sometimes I feel good and connected. Again, the point is for you to audit yourself. Let's look at relationships, love. What are the things that we do? Do you do, dinner, family dinner? Do you do other social gatherings? Do you do weekly check-ins with certain people, family members, friends? Do you do a date night with your spouse or significant other? Do you do games and movies with your kids? Last night I played games with my kids. I had the light, the house, the living room area lit just with oil lamps and candles, little candle chandelier. And we played some games, some word games, some funny games, and just enjoyed ourselves. I thought it was a good investment of my time. But at the end, what did I want to feel from that? That's the question. If that's the things that we're doing, what's the point? Is it, again, just to feel safe and secure in those relationships? Connection. Is it, you see other people doing this and you think, well, the guy next door is always doing this with his kids, jumping on the trampoline. I guess I need to get a trampoline to do it too. Is it comparison? I question that a lot. Is it validation? I'm with people because I need validation. I was turned on recently to so I'll call it a possible danger of commiserating, the term of commiserating, where we share and amplify emotions by discussing problems with people. And we just want, almost like venting, and we just want to be commiserated with. We want somebody it's another term of validation, real more popular one that I feel. Now, with relationships and the things that we do, and I could actually put this with a lot of things, we just hit spirituality. How often is it just an obligation? I read something recently, a spiritually oriented book that talked about love, and that if love includes obligation, it's not really love. I'm pondering that just for the possibility of it, even though for me, I look at it and go, gosh, what would I have done last night if the kids weren't here? Well, obviously I didn't have somebody to play a game with, but do I do stuff with them that I wouldn't otherwise? Totally. Do I do stuff with them sometimes because I feel some obligation or responsibility? Yep. Don't know how to separate that out yet. I'm playing with that one. I'm being confident enough in it to allow myself to question it. Now, spiritually, what am I doing that I feel obligated to? That one, I'm a little more concerned about the obligation aspect. Think about it as duty, responsibility. I do look at that with families a lot. And I think that, I'll say marriages, even relationships, and with parenting and whatnot as well. A lot of obligation going on, after the giddiness wears off of the baby, kind of like the puppy, kitten, whatever, then it's obligation. And I see as time goes on, I feel like a lot of people, I don't see any joy anymore. I don't see any. It's just obligation. I think that's what a bummer. I think if we looked at that, I wish more wannabe parents would consider how it's going to pan out, what the years ahead look like. I hear a lot of parents talk about parenting primarily as an obligation, not a great joy. We're looking at relationships, and speaking of the marital one, what about sex? That's when I remember with my guys really coming from a Christian construct and where God's supposed to be everything. And we kind of landed on two of, I don't really want to have sex with God. I like doing that with my spouse. But what do even there, what are you wanting to get out of it? Is there a relationship that's based primarily just on getting that? Do we want, again, true connection? I mean, again, with relationships, now this is really hard because if you're just alone, you don't have a relationship. So we can't play the mind game of what if it's just, you're just alone. But what if you do, you're somewhat anonymous in the relationships. What would you want for people that you know that you care about and love? What would you try to work to do for them if you did not, if you again weren't not, you're the fairy godmother in essence? What would you do? I look at that a lot and go, would I do this if it was anonymous, or am I just doing this to have an effect on how someone thinks of me? Now, with what I'm looking at from a relationship, it helps me to look at what relationships I actually go into or not, one. But two, to look at it and go, what is it? What's the feeling that I care about most? And am I doing the things to help that? If I had done that a long time ago, it would have steered some of my relationships very differently, because I realize now that I did a lot of the stuff that I did just out of obligation or trying to earn approval. Would I do it if I was, again, anonymous? And can some of the feelings relationally that I want out of that, especially if I'm okay just with me, the relationship with myself, do I need those? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but I do look at relationship with myself a lot more these days. And I want to be pretty fulfilled in and of myself for my survival. Think about it for my survival. Now, I don't want to stay in survival. I want to thrive. And to thrive, I want other relationships. I think I need other relationships, but I don't want to go into those relationships needy. I don't want to go into those needing the things that I feel are up to me, my self-worth, for instance. And in that sense, sometimes I don't want to go into a relationship needing validation and affirmation and needing. Can I go in there? I'm okay. I'm at peace. I think I'm a lot more attractive to others if that's the case, and we all will be. Things to ponder. Let's look at health and wellness. Your body, physicality in this one, because we'll hit mental next. Physicality, how you look, how you feel. What are the things that we do? We work out, right? We exercise, we eat clean, we fast, we take supplements, we do cold water plunges, we do hot saunas, we do, the endless list of things that we do. And then there's all things that we try not to do, like eat junk food, try not to drink too much, try not to stay up too late. All these things that the do is endless. Well, again, if we look at that and go, it's just at the end to how do we want to be? What is it we're trying to feel? Now, this is a little wonky on this one because, I went and ran 5.5 miles. What did I want to feel? I wanted to feel the chemicals I feel when I'm out there running long distance. I wanted to feel the sweat, sun on my face, the endorphins. I wanted to feel that. Can I do that without running? I don't know. Maybe virtual reality, but you can get a little benefit somewhat. But to that extent, no. But I'm doing it for me. But even there, why? Why do I want those? Can I get those from watching something exciting? Again, I'm playing with it. Don't get too caught up in the details because we can discount anything. With the feeling, the physical feeling, well, I don't know how to actually achieve that without some doing. There's a lot of people suffering from a sedentary life that I think they would help themselves feel better by being active. And I don't know that there's an exchange for that. That we can trade that out for something else. Now, as far as how we look, that's an interesting one to me. That again, if you were anonymous, nobody ever saw you, what would you want to do? I think that I still want to feel well. I like being mobile and being able to jump up and down off the floor with the kids. And I don't like aches and pains. And I do really enjoy my physicality, being able to ride and run and help somebody move, help myself move, as we just did recently. I like those things. But I got to question my self-image sometimes, how much of it comes down to that. And I talk about this in my book, What Drives You, as well. There is, how you look. There is an actual, a cost to it, a benefit to that. In our culture, you get more credibility if you look a certain way. If you look more fit, more trim. It's just true. They've done the studies. We like to point at them and say how that's terrible. Just like somebody who's taller seems to get more opportunity than someone who's shorter. That doesn't seem fair. As far as our physical fitness and wellness, I think we have a lot more, obviously, control over that than our height. But there is an opportunity aspect to how we look in essence. But even being sober-minded with that And to say, yeah, okay, I'm putting effort into it because let's take an actor or an actress. I mean, that's what they get paid for, to look a certain way. And it may be to put on 200 pounds or to lose a lot as well. And they're doing that for their job. But, we've got the social media realm and there's a lot put on looks. You decide how you feel about that. I feel like being a slave to it, to how you look, most people say, that's not good. I feel like there's a lot of polarization too. And at the end of the day, I do kind of think about just me and myself. If I was somewhat anonymous, how do I want to look and feel just for me? Kind of like in the Matrix, where he takes the red pill and then looks and realizes he's in different clothes, his hair is different. And the character Morpheus says that's your residual self-image. Like, how do I want to look that's comfortable to Kevin? And it's changed. I didn't used to have gray hair. It's changed. I didn't used to have the age spots, or for me, I think it's a lot of weathering spots from a lifetime outdoors and professional cycling and whatnot. So it's changed, and I make peace with that, or I might decide, no, I'm going to fight against that and go get cosmetic stuff done or whatnot. But again, what is it at the end that we are looking for? And a lot of times with our health and wellness, it is aspects of our credibility and how we come off to others. Now, with how we actually feel, a lot of people are just saying, I want less aches and pains just for me. I just want to be able to think clearly. We got brain fog and dementia and stuff like that happen. And I have a healthy anxiety about that. I think it's healthy. I hope it is. But what do we want for ourselves? I have goals of what I want to feel like specifically. Even if I can't, I'll give up the looks at this point. I'll give up the looks to feel a certain way. I ultimately want to be able-bodied for sure, but I don't want to be able-minded. I want my health span to last as long as my lifespan, but I want to be clear. Again, a lot of this is just about awareness. I like that word sobriety. Am I sober about my concepts of my own health and wellness? And at the end, what do I want? And according to that, what do I need to do? I used to, as an elite athlete, I did some things that I have no desire to do anymore. 2 years ago, I did 40 miles in one day in the Grand Tetons, called the Sufferfest. Well, I did it. I did pretty well. I don't think I'll do that again. I just don't care. I don't care. I found myself along the way kind of more wishing I could stop by one of the high mountain lakes and hang out than continue on suffering on the Sufferfest. I did it, but it's more about our own personal audit here. What do we want out of it? What do we want to feel? And when we're understanding that, do we really need to do the thing, or can we do it with a better mindset, with more peace? How about our mental state, our mind, how we think and how we feel mentally? I mean, we're in an age right now, you're well aware of, more anxiety than ever. Mental illness is constantly talked about. And you may not think of yourself as mentally ill. I don't really want to think of myself there, but on the spectrum, we're all on it. Put out all the pathologies. We're all on there somewhere. We may be very low. We may be reaching pathological. But the things that we do, we meditate, we go to therapy, get counseling, get coaching. We go to seminars and conferences and listen to podcasts and read books and watch videos, and we read and listen and watch, and self-help, self-improvement, personal development. We organize, right? What is that? Marie Kondo or whatever. We declutter, we medicate in a lot of ways that are socially acceptable now, that you take your whatever drugs to help you manage and moderate your issues or to elevate some things. Well, again, how do we want to feel? I think it's an interesting one. If you look at your mental state, how do you want to be? I feel like there's almost some romanticizing these days of being anxious, panic attacks, even of ADHD and all these things, and it's almost a badge of honor almost. And if I look at it, then go, how do I want to feel? What helps me, what I help myself with a lot is thinking about what people do I want to be around? Do I want to be around somebody who's freaking out? Not really. Don't want to be around somebody who's very anxious. I think of them as energy vampires. I saw that term recently. I don't want to be. I want to be around somebody who's at peace with themselves, peace with the world. Doesn't mean that they think everything's great, but they're just at peace. It's selfish because then they're open to me and aware and curious about me. Well, likewise, though, or conversely, I guess, how would other people want to experience me? How would my kids like to experience me? Is there anything I can do that they care for more than how I be? At the end of the day, I don't think so. But this is another one, mentally, how do you want to be, even if you weren't in connection with other people? What is the goal? Do you want to be at peace? Do you want less anxiety? And what is it that you want to feel mentally? And what do you need to do to achieve that just for you? Results only. There's no checklist. You don't get points in heaven, I don't think. Okay, how about your work? Your vocation, your career, your business, what you do to provide. What do you do? Well, you work. You go to work. How much do you work? How many hours you putting in? Are you doing the hustle? Are you doing the grind? Are you doing what you got to succeed? You're going to start a business, start another business, get promoted, all the doings. Well, again, what do we want to feel? Now, the next one after this is money, but it's hard to separate for work. A lot of people, would you do the work you're doing if you didn't need the money? There's a lot of security, not only that we are looking for monetarily, I think, but just the security in who we are. That's what you do. I went to a social gathering yesterday. It was a neighborhood. I'm in a new neighborhood, and there were, I don't know, 5 or 6 couples, and went over there and met each other. And I was being real aware of me not asking. And I was so grateful that nobody asks. And out of the, I don't know, 15, 16, whatever people that might have been there, I only know what 2 of them did, just because it came up. One guy was just saying, yeah, we've moved a lot here and there. And I know in this area, there's a lot of military. So I asked, so you're military? He said, yeah. I didn't ask him anything past that. And another guy said something about, he was talking about wine, actually. And he mentioned something with his patients. And I said, patients? So you're a doctor? Yeah, I'm an eye surgeon. Other than that, they didn't share. And it was, I really appreciated that as well. But generally, that's what we do, is who we are, right? Culture, society wise. And so we want to be worthy. We want to be credible. We want to value in the culture. I'm not minimizing that. I do too, even though I try to look at my image and ask, what would Secure Kevin do? And Secure Kevin wouldn't say that I do the things that I do, and wouldn't need those. I mentioned this so many times. I just love the story. Donald Miller, the author, Donald Miller, went to a retreat. And for the first 3 days, they were not allowed to tell anyone what they did. And he talked about how excruciating it was for him not to be able to tell everybody he was a famous author, how much of his identity was attached to that. So with our work, how much of it is attached to our identity? If we were anonymous, what would we do? Would you be pushing as hard as you are now? Do you feel I have 9 kids. Should I be working 24 hours a day with a responsibility to provide everything for them? I had enough kids, thank goodness. Well, in my perspective, thank goodness that it's impossible. I can't put 9 kids through college, or I don't care enough to work at a degree that I see that it would take to do that. And I'm not, and I don't even know that that's best. It's, again, this is not to come up with an answer or a conclusion. You conclude for you, but it is to ask the question, well, I'm working to do X, to achieve X, to have X, so that I feel X. What is that? Because I guarantee, well, I can't guarantee, but if it's to be, so I can feel safe and secure, and there's somebody who has no money that feels that way. So it's apparently not it's how we feel about it. It's our construct. If you are not aware of the story of the Mexican fisherman, just type in the Mexican fisherman, go read the short little couple paragraph story. Money. Our possessions, our financial security. What are the things we do? Well, obviously we work and we budget, we save, we invest. We think we need this much. We question how much we need, what might happen. What are we trying to achieve? And again, with money, just like I said a minute ago, there's somebody with $100 million who's insecure about their money, and there's somebody who's got $100 to their name they're okay. They're secure. It's still a feeling. I'm not making a case for either way. I don't really want to be the guy with only $100. I actually don't want to be the guy with 100 million. I mean, I'd find some good things to do with it. That'd be fine, but it's not a motivation for me, motivator. But what are we with our money, with our concerns about it? What are we trying to achieve at the end? I have multiple friends who are in the financial services industry, and to hear them talk about it, it's so across the board of what people do to feel secure, what does or does not make them feel secure, what the money means to them or not. And to me, it helps me look at money as it's just a thing. It's just a thing that makes us feel a certain way. Now, granted, I need some. I'm gonna buy groceries today. I have a home that I pay for. I need a car. Kids need clothes, whatnot. But at the end, what am I doing it to feel? Again, safety and security is so often the case with a lot of this. We're doing X so that we can feel safe and secure. I continue to question for myself: can I have a level of safety and security without those things? But what level of abundance and what does that mean to you, and what does it look like do you need? And I will say again, with money and possessions and whatnot, what if you were anonymous? What if you were taking care of yourself and some others, but you were anonymous? You could never say what you did. You could never, the things that you have would never be seen. What would you do? What would your decisions look like differently? Could you feel financially healthy and at peace without doing all the things that you're doing right now? Or not. And with some of that stuff now, if you go and look, gosh, I hear this, Kevin, it'd be great to be at that place, but I'm just not. If I don't do X, I just don't feel okay. Okay. All right. But let's be sober minded and realize that you're doing that for your construct. It's not a have to. It's not a global spiritual must. It's you, and own that. There's some things that I do that I just do for me. I don't know that I can justify them. I just do them. Like that with some of my running and riding and my exercise stuff that I do consistently. I just do them because I feel better about me. Could I possibly work to feel better about me in some certain ways without doing those things? Probably. But I don't see a negative out of it. It's not stressing me out. I'm enjoying it more than ever. So I'm going to choose to do them. Again, this is not a judgment. It's not a right or wrong. It's just a questioning to understand us. Being, again, I like that term, sober minded. Last one here is just personal things you do for you personally. It could be hobbies that you do. It could be pursuits like my riding and running. I'll tell you one with that is I was a pro cyclist. And even when I quit as an elite cyclist, I continued to compete in mountain biking. I was a pro cyclist on the road, but I went to mountain biking. I did a lot of running and did a lot of running races and duathlons and different things like that where I would compete in stuff. And I have not competed in, I think, well over a year because I've realized I just don't need to. Doesn't mean I won't. I may get a wild hair and do it. But, what are the things that we do again and why? What are the things that you do? Maybe you garden, maybe you organize, maybe you have different social things that you're involved in. I see that people who have their, quote, regular life, but then they're really involved in some side interest. And why are you doing it? And are you okay with that? Maybe you are, but at the end, what is it about that you are trying to achieve? What do you want to feel? And in that, can you feel that way without doing all that you're doing? Again, it comes down to how do you feel about it? How's it working? With all this, with the doing, the achievements, how do you feel about those? Are you at peace? Do you have joy? Is it fulfilling? Or are you stressing yourself out? Is it a constant pressure? I think that's really the red flag with all this, is to look at the things that, you're just kind of good with. I like auditing them just to be, again, sober minded for myself and to question, and maybe I can do something better. Maybe I could do more of it. Maybe I could do less of it. I don't know. But I like to do that. But mainly the big red flags here, well, that's it. We're looking for the red flags. Where's the stress coming from? Where's the pressure coming from? Where's the thing that your mind goes to that you're thinking about when you wake up at night to go to the bathroom and then you can't go back to sleep? Or the picture, what your anxiety feels like. So what am I doing, trying to achieve, for what purpose? That's the audit. That's the one that I am interested in, and that I got myself thinking about watching The Matrix, that in so many ways, whether it's real or virtual or whatever, we are engaging with life in order to feel certain ways. And, even tonight I'm doing dinner, Now I can go buy some gruel like they had in the Matrix, so that will just sustain myself and my family. I can just go buy that, and that will take care of the human physical need to actually eat. But I'm not going to do that. I want to have fun because I like that and I'm okay with that. I think I'm sober minded with it. So I'm going to have, let's see, I think tonight might be burger night, and I'll have some good music while I'm making it. Speaking of sober, I'll probably have some wine, not too much, with that. And then I don't know if we'll do another game tonight or if we'll choose, since they did games last night, they may choose to watch something and we'll look at something interesting like The Matrix. And, but I'll be aware and conscious of what I'm doing and why. And in that, I find I'm able to do it with more peace and what feels like health to me, measured by, is it constructive? Does it seem productive? Is it serving people well? And how do I feel about it? Am I doing it with peace, with a happy, I wouldn't even say a happy heart, but with fulfillment, with serenity even. So, something to ponder. But friends, thanks for joining me in this walk through these key areas of our lives and questioning what we're doing and why. What's the outcome? What are we trying to feel? If it sparked thoughts, considerations, criticisms, let me know. I'd be honored to engage with you. Just email me at kmiller@kevinmiller.co. Until next time, here's to the evolving you.
Yeah.